Well, I think the obvious answer is we want those around us to experience the gospel, to be made right with God through Christ. We want those that we love, and then those that we don't even know in the corners of the earth to know the redemption that comes through Jesus. And so we share the gospel for their benefit. And Paul would say that over and over in all of his letters, that he preached this gospel and suffered for this gospel for them, for us. But I think that it goes even beyond that the primary reason of sharing the gospel is not just that so my neighbor would come to know Jesus, or that someone in some foreign tribe in a distant land would come to know Jesus. But the primary reason for sharing the gospel is to honor God. It's because Christ commanded it. And the reality is that everyone you share the gospel with is not going to be real receptive to that gospel. In fact, sometimes they're going to be in opposition to the gospel. And so when you share the gospel, if you're doing it from your own strength and your own power and your own kind of need to make yourself feel good that you've helped someone else, or maybe in your own kind of humanitarian way to make someone else's life better, we're not always going to have our own strength to push through the opposition when the gospel's met with resistance. But when we share the gospel in obedience to God, now His power becomes our power. Now His grace is sufficient for us, like it would be for Paul in those times, to press through. Even when I share the gospel and you don't receive it, and you oppose me, I know Christ is for me. So it's that obedience that fuels me. Not just my love for you. I do love you. I mean, Jesus had compassion all throughout the Gospels. But ultimately, He suffered the cross because of the joy of obedience that it brought by honoring the Father. And that's the fuel that pushes you through sharing the gospel when someone rejects it or when someone's not open to it. But it's also the reward in well done, my good and faithful servant, when we see Him.